The last video introduced us to function templates, which made it easy for us to switch between data types inside of our functions. And we did this by creating our own data type. We created lemming data, and this lemming data was used to create our function. I said I'll be expecting lemming data in return, and I passed through two parameters, both of them using lemming data themselves. And then when we got down to the main, I said that we're going to have integer variable a, and that was the first one being passed through our function. Now this means that lemming x over here, which would be the first parameter, would be integer a. So that means that it's going to be integer. So lemming data is integer data. So wherever we see lemming up here, that ended up being integer. And that was fine until we tried to pass through a different type of data next, which means we tried to pass through a double. Now when we pass through a double right here, that means that lemming y would have been the double, which means that lemming data has to be both integer and double at the same time. That's not possible. How would it know which one it wants to be? Both of them are really different. So that was not going to happen, and we got errors when we tried to do that. So how can we actually use function templates with multiple data types? I'm going to show you guys how to do that right now. Let's start up a new program, and we're going to go through the same process as we saw last time. We're going to write the keyword template before the main. We're going to go and open up our triangle braces. We're going to write the word class. We're going to write the word lemming again, but now we're going to put a comma, and we're going to write another data type that we're going to create. I'll write class turtle. Now, this means we're going to be creating lemming data and turtle data. As you can probably guess, one of them is going to be for one data type, say the integer, and the other one will be for the other data type, say the double. Now, we're not done yet. You need to remember ordering, because you're not going to have both of these data types before your function. You're going to list one data type, so let's go ahead and list lemming before the function, and that's the data you're going to get in return. So it's very important you order which order we're going to be putting the variables inside of your function when we get to the main. So keep this in mind. So we're going to go ahead and make the same function last time. It'll be the addition function, and I'll be passing through lemming parameter x and turtle parameter y, for example. And I'm going to go ahead and just write return x plus y. Same thing we saw last time, nothing new. Okay, everything's there. We can go into the main and start making some variables. So I'm going to say that I'll have integer variable c, and I'll assign that a value of 10. And I'll say I'll have double variable d, and I'll assign that a value of 36.5. I know, I'm really mature. So we have both of these here. I can go ahead and print out the function. So I write c out, and I'm going to put, addition. I'm not going to fill it up just yet. Just end the line here. Okay, so we have all that ready, and we're ready to put our C or D variables inside of here. Now, which one are we going to put first? Because it matters. Now, look at this up here. The first one you're going to put in is going to be lemming x, which means it's also going to be the data type of the function, which means if I were to go ahead and pass through the d in here, the variable d, that means we're going to have double data inside of our function, and that means we're going to be getting double in return. So we're going to be allowed decimal places in return. If you were to pass the integer variable c first, that means you're going to have a integer function, which means you're not going to be able to get those decimal places returned to you. They're going to cut them off, which is going to be pointless for adding an integer with a double. So I'll show you guys an example of this right now. I'll show you guys the proper way that if we want to do this and keep all the data and we want to preserve the decimal places, we would put d first, which means that this is going to be double, and then this is going to be double, which means you'll have a double function, and then c, which would be integer, and then only this one's going to be integer, so you're going to be adding a double and an integer, and you're going to be getting a double in return. If we go ahead and build and run this to confirm our suspicions, we're going to see that we have 46.5, which means we preserved that decimal place. If we were to go ahead and reverse these, we're not going to get that same luxury. We're going to see that we're going to get that decimal place cut off right away. We're just going to get 46. You're not even going to get rounded up. Remember, when you go from a double to an integer, you're not going to be getting the decimal place. It's just going to cut the decimal place off. It's not even going to round up. I don't care if it's 46.9999999. It's going to cut it off, and you're going to go down to 46. So keep that in mind when working with multiple types of data. You need to know which one's going in first, which one's going in second, and then which one will correspond to the data of the class. The data of the function, sorry. If you have any questions regarding function templates, regardless if it's what we saw this video or the last video, feel free to leave it in the comments below, and I'll answer your question as soon as possible. Hope you guys are enjoying the series so far, and we'll have more coming later.